Cause and effect made visible. Your universe is cause and effect made visible. This is an undeviating principle of existence. If there are instances of deviations, such as paranormal experiences or instantaneous healings, the average person exclaims in astonishment, and science refuses to believe that such a thing is possible. As my explanation deepens, you will eventually understand how such deviations take place, logically and effectually. In other words, these deviations occur according to natural spiritual laws and always serve a necessary purpose. Nowhere is there any mindlessness in creation, even in the ant or gnat, unless the mind of an entity has been born defective or been damaged. Therefore, it is clear you live and operate in a physical universe which displays the highest degree of intelligence and purposeful activity within the creation of matter itself, in the physical bodies of all individual entities, from plants to human beings. Unfortunately, this high degree of intelligence and purposeful caring is only minimal in the consciousness displayed by the created entities themselves, from plants to human beings. In other words, the bodies in which you conduct your lives, in which you think and feel and do whatever comes to mind, manifest within their physical organs and working parts a very much higher order of intelligence and loving purpose than does your human consciousness. Human interests are mostly wrapped up in the problems of personal daily survival, enjoyment of pleasures, and emotional, physical satisfaction. To achieve these purposes, the majority of people use only the commodities manufactured out of matter. Even the minds of scientists cannot fully unravel the hidden secrets of earthly existence, and, despite all their scientific expertise, are as bogged down in the changing fortunes of existence as are those who have no learning at all. Therefore, it is a logical conclusion that out of which you have drawn your physical being is one of immensity, not only of size, but immensity of willpower, the will to self-expression and creativity. Visualize for a moment the size of the material universe, the sun and its heat, the moon, the earth, planets and solar system, the galaxies of stars, and the fact that all this visible material is totally interdependent, yet also dependent on the movement of the planetary bodies and subject to universal laws of consistent function and movement. This vast universe has had its origins within and has been drawn out of the foundation of your being, and the entirety of life force energy in the universe has been drawn out of that same foundation of being. Therefore, do not be dismayed if, in my efforts to analyze for you the spiritual components of your source of being, you find that you recognize what these components are, and to a very, very, very limited extent, possess the same spiritual components of consciousness yourself. You have drawn all that you are, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, from your source of being. Before I explain to you how this could be, I want you to take certain steps to help your minds absorb the immensity of that out of which you have drawn your being. After you have read the next pages to the end of my letter, take each paragraph individually into meditation and visualization, for only in this way will the words begin to grow in realization and take on the spiritual reality of their true meaning. All spiritual, unseen, seen, imagined is consciousness awareness. The primary comprehensive nature of consciousness is awareness. It is not possible to have consciousness without possessing awareness. All that you see, all that you touch, hear, feel, know is consciousness awareness made visible. There is nothing in the universe that is not consciousness made visible. Consciousness awareness is infinite and eternal. There are two dimensions of consciousness, both beyond and within your own earthly plane of existence, the plane of heavy matter, solid form. The ultimate universal dimension of consciousness awareness can never be fully or truly known by an individualized spirit. It is inaccessible. It is in equilibrium. It is the only source of all power, wisdom, love, intelligence. The universal dimension of consciousness, awareness, in equilibrium is a state of silence and stillness, out of which come sound, color, individualized form, and all visible creativity within the visible universe. Out of ultimate universal dimension of consciousness awareness in equilibrium has come all of creation, all the various unseen dimensions of existence descending in order of spirituality from the very portals of the universal dimension down to the most ponderous vibrational frequencies of inanimate earthly substances and beyond into unspeakable horrors of consciousness perversions and anti-truth. The ultimate universal dimension of consciousness awareness is not only in space, it is all space. It is undetectably everywhere. For those who think in terms of atoms, you can say it is the space in the atom. Therefore, it is in silence and equilibrium within the space of all elements and matter. The nature of universal consciousness is intent, inactive, and in equilibrium. Therefore, universal consciousness is an infinite, eternal, limitless, boundless state of powerful intent, pristine, pure, beautiful. This intent is to express its nature. Universal consciousness nature, intent, is the allness of will and purpose, always locked in embrace. The universal will is to move out and create. The universal purpose is to give individual form to creation and experience it. Within the ultimate universal dimension of consciousness awareness intent, universal will is in a state of mutual restraint with universal purpose, both in perfect equilibrium within silence and stillness. Universal will is universal intelligence. Universal purpose is universal love. Universally in equilibrium, in mutual restraint, out of which all things visible and invisible and human impulses have taken form. If you could receive the fullness of universal reality into yourself, you would be disintegrated by its explosive power and dissolved into formless consciousness awareness. It as far transcends the individual humanhood as the heat and light of your sun is billions times more powerful than the light of your fireflies flickering in darkness. When I was on earth, I made a distinction between your Father in heaven and your Father within you. When I spoke of your Father in heaven, I meant universal intelligence. Because of the Jewish attitude to women, I only referred to this aspect of universal consciousness. Now, to you who are so aware of the equality of genders, I speak of Father, Mother consciousness in equilibrium within universal consciousness awareness, where Father consciousness is universal intelligence. Mother consciousness is universal love. The tool of Father consciousness's creative energy, electricity, is in a state of mutual restraint, equilibrium with the tools of Mother consciousness's creative energy, magnetism. Because Father-Mother tools electromagnetism is in equilibrium within universal consciousness, it will never be detected within space by scientists, no matter how they may probe space. The impulse, Father consciousness will, is intelligent activity. In equilibrium with the impulse, Mother consciousness purpose is nurturing for survival. Father-Mother consciousness is a powerful impersonal force, yet it is personal for you even before you seek to make contact with it. As you evolve spiritually, you will feel it, for it is the reality of being. It is everywhere and within everything. Father consciousness is the intelligent love which gives intelligent energy and momentum to the world of complex forms expressed physically as electricity. Mother purpose is the loving intelligence which gives purpose and the impulse for survival to the individualized complex forms expressed as magnetism, bonding, and repulsion. These are the universal primal impulses of all being of universal consciousness, your source of being, intelligence, love. This is the state of being before creation. Consciousness awareness within a state of equilibrium. I want you to move again into an inner state of conscious equilibrium where all thought is stilled and your mind resides in silence. You are in interior control. Your mind and emotions no longer divided into activity and feeling. You may feel a buildup of power within you, strength, peace, and contentment. This, expressed in you in individual form, is the state of being out of which came creation. I want you to notice that the equilibrium is impossible the moment that thought is introduced. I want you to realize that the universal dimension is a dimension of unformed impulses. It contains no blueprint of creation. It is in a state of undivided form. The equilibrium, the restraint between opposing impulses to move about and remain bonded, creates an infinite spiral of self-contained energy. The self-contained energy of mutual restraint is beyond the power of individuality to even imagine. As I have told you before, were individuality able to enter the universal dimension of the mutually restrained impulses of movement and bonding, the individuality would be immediately dissolved and returned to the equilibrium of universal consciousness. Ponder the unimaginable immensity of power contained within the mutual restraint of the twin impulses in universal consciousness, which are primarily consciousness awareness, intent, will, purpose, intelligence, love, combined as intelligent love and loving intelligence, impulses of movement, bonding, repulsion, electricity in equilibrium, magnetism. The above describes the unlimited universal dimension before the Big Bang. You now know that the Father-Mother creative process and the tools of physical creation are all in a state of equilibrium within the universal dimension. But now that equilibrium is to be exploded to bring about individual form.